Okay, so this is something I've been trying to get off the ground for a while, but I've struggled to find a good setup for it. I've done some previous sort of flip through videos in the past, both on this channel and on the Hidden Machine channel, but I really haven't been happy with the overall quality, and I think that these aren't necessarily like archival projects, but if you can't clearly see all the text and pictures in high definition, I don't really see the point in even doing something like this. So we actually did shoot a bunch of footage recently for the Hidden Machine channel that I made the decision to scrap, and then I invested in this new setup that I feel really good about. It's a nice tripod with a long arm on top, and I'll put a picture of it right here. But essentially, I just want to go through and share some of these oddball sort of things I have in my collection, starting with the nationwide premiere issue of Shred magazine from August of 1989. I tried to look this up. I could not find any information on it. There is another Shred magazine that was more popular than this one. I picked this up at some sort of convention, and they had issues number 1 and 3, and I grabbed them both because they're relatively cheap, and I just thought it was a cool looking punk skate zine. So, here we have the photo by Paul, well, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name down there, but got some Shred culture here. And this is the receptionist of Shred, Domina. Not really sure how to pronounce that one either. But you see here she's some type of wildlife enthusiast, dominatrix, sort of like a S&M Elvira mixed with a Mark Trail type character. And going forward, we have the table of contents here, the editors and credits and everything. And I like this shit. It's very dumb. It's very corny. The smiley face with the skull in it. The image looks as if it's been, squashed. But I don't know. I think this is cool. Got an editorial page here where we see some of our contributors, and in classic fanzine style. I'm pretty sure this is all fake. Moving forward, tucked in here we have a couple of subscription cards. We could have saved 50% off newsstand price. Pretty sure these are expired, 30 years down the line. Just tuck these somewhere else for now. So here we have Shred's very own Boyd Stiff, the founder, in the Shred style column here. And I don't know. I really go for this kind of stuff. And I don't skate, I don't surf. But, even this typography here, I just think this shit's awesome. And then here we have some, this looks like Church of the Subgenius type stuff to me. And, I don't even know what this is. This editorial is a fake ad. What is this? It doesn't really matter. But yes, it is. It's the Church of the Subgenius. So that's right, folks. You read it. You read it right. Shred Magazine's own cult review at your service. In this column, we seek to reveal just how weird, twisted, stupid, sometimes, and funny culture can be. For our nationwide premiere, we bring you the granddaddy of cultdom, the Church of the Subgenius. So this is Shred's Cult of the Month, and even this, just this header mixed with this logo and everything, the whole deal here, way cooler than it has to be. This could have just been 2 lines of text at the top of the page, but they went all out on the design. This is some classic stuff. If you're not familiar with the Church of the Subgenius, that's a whole other video on its own. It does focus on Mr. Bob Dobbs here. And yeah, this article just kind of goes into a bit about the Church of the Subgenius. I just think all this art is awesome. This is it's definitely punk rock fanzine style, but I don't know, kicked up a notch to something a little more, professional and magazine like in a more traditional newsstand sense. They even have the old address here, so you can get involved with the Church of the Subgenius if you wanted to back in the day. More just really cool art. All this stuff. I've never seen any of these images before. I'm not sure if these are original to the zine or if these are just images that the Church of Subgenius used elsewhere, but really good stuff. Next up, there's a little book review section, a review of Brought to Light. Get a little sample here. I'm trying to look for who the author of Brought to Light is. I don't think it says right away. But this is awesome. I'll have to look this book up. I've never really seen that before. And then we also have a little spotlight on Mr. Charles Burns, who I'm sure people know now, but I don't know if he was as well known in '89. Not to say he was, a nobody back then, but he's someone who's been able to hang on to his reputation. You know what I mean? Have some of his older works. This one's dated '81. I think all this is awesome work. I mean, this is all stuff that you can find in his books. They talk about him doing Big Baby. They talk about him working in Raw magazine, which is something else we'll look at here on this in this series later on down the line. Here we've got a cool ad for the Shred t-shirt and the Shred shirts. Lovely model with the crimped hair and the big hoops. That's nice. Here we got some more of what I really think is maybe like the impetus for putting together a magazine like this is skate and surf stuff, but also some snowboarding, some windsurfing, got some bodyboarding, skimboarding. I've honestly never heard of that. There's also like a whole sort of like tongue-in-cheek satirical tone here. There's this whole little article here about the radio waves being dominated by Satan. Here we got a interview with Mr. Peter Case. A little music review. They mentioned that Peter Case is a Christian musician. And I don't know. I'm wondering who wrote all this stuff because it's written in a very particular tone, as I'm sure you can see here if you're looking close enough. But so here we are, measly stinking little Shred magazine, hurling in our 2 lousy little cents like it's something you need, like a cavity or a hemorrhoid or a pipe bomb in your tube of toothpaste, or a war or a plague or an apocalypse. Yeah, I know you're just dying to know what Shred thinks is hot, or God only knows whatever stupid trendy server word adjective is currently fashionable. So what the hey, lighten up, dude. It's written in a very particular tone that I think is a lot of fun. It's honestly kind of cringy, but it's so tongue-in-cheek. There's another little interesting editorial about the idea of newness. I think this is very interesting. And again, even just like the flavor art and everything in these articles is just, I don't know, I think this is just awesome stuff. And this piece is asking, why with all this newness is originality so rare? Isn't it strange how we clamor for novel experience but only accept those that are things that are familiar? I don't know. It's interesting stuff. There's more Bible verses being quoted in here too. There is no new thing under the sun. And even this is a great image right here. And a great quote, not to get too religious on you, but it's a great quote. Here we see a collage here. It says God rules. Got an ad here for from Skull Skates Incorporated. This is a really cool ad. I don't know anything about skating, but I just love the way this looks. Here we've got an advice column here, and again, I'm really enjoying this the comic art throughout this magazine. But it's Ask Lou, so they have their own advice column, you know, imaginary person here. Um, this looks like old, clip art stuff you'd find in so many trade magazines and things back in the 50s. Up until like the mid 70s even, you'd see a lot of these exact illustrations. Next up, we got some more stuff on the shred style front. This is a really fun photograph, making use of the styrofoam in all its different forms. This is a look I would rock right here, for sure. We have a report here on the term eat dirt and talking about different sorts of dirt eating rituals and I actually knew someone from the South who would get dirt sent to them in a plastic bag, a little Ziploc baggie, and she said the dirt was so good on there they would just eat it. We got a little another editorial here on UFOs. And a listing of UFO sightings. And these are not really written in a completely satirical way, it doesn't seem. So I'm wondering if they actually did collect these and just reprint them here. Waves of oil engulfs coast, far-fetched or imminent reality. Recognize the lateness of our planet's environmental clock and quit acting like its resources are unlimited. Planet Earth, love it or leave it. Well, it's 30 some years on down the line, almost, more than 30 years now at this point, and that message has fallen on deaf ears for the most part. Here we have a piece on the Indigo Girls, which is I don't know. I think this is really interesting. I also like how their bits, like the Mondo music, what is it, musical Mondo Juju, or the style shred style columns are kind of like just interspersed throughout the magazine, rather than being like one particular section. Here we got Franken Einstein's Bizarre Science. And again, this is just another bizarre article here. It's talking about alternative forms of energy and things like that. Interesting stuff. It's a battery-powered car, runs without fossil fuels or any other pollutants. Ideas like this have been around for a very long time, and of course the oil industry. Would you believe that they would, work to bury those ideas in the marketplace? This is also so simple, kind of dumb. It's the kind of art you'd find on a Pog or a milk cap in the mid 90s. These sorts of things, but I don't know. I just think they're awesome. Here we have Boyd Stiff again, returning to give us an article on semantics. And he goes on to talk about how black culture and surf culture have done a lot to shape modern day English, which is definitely true. And yes, I'll acknowledge that this is problematic here, but I think it's trying to express a larger point about history and culture. And images like this have a huge role in our culture. And even though we've done a lot to basically abolish those images, the effect they had on shaping people's perceptions on things like race are going to be felt for several more generations at least, directly, and many more generations indirectly. Moving forward, we have a short article here on Saint Christopher, and another article here on the humans. And so they're hitting the malls to talk with randomly selected humans. They discover there is good reason to worry and surprisingly to hope for the species. I do like how much religious stuff is going on inside this magazine. And I also love these sorts of things. I never know if they're legitimate or not, but anytime you can get these little just quick Q&A sessions with strangers, man on the street style reporting, I always find this really fascinating to see where, you know, a random person's mind was at this time in the culture. And they're asking people, you know, their style, progressive, crisis, goal, future. I think they're letting them, you know, here the questions are spelled out a bit more, but I am wondering if they're just letting people interpret the single word statements on their own. This person doesn't consider movies to be art. Missy, age 16. This looks like Robert Smith. Got a few more interviews here. I like this just say huh image here. I also like they're interviewing people. This girl's 11, 20, 18, 18, 21. It's nice to hear what young people think. You know, they're not always, their thoughts aren't always documented very well throughout history. Here we got another skate shop ad. Great looking ad. This is so cool to me. I love how these ads look. Both these look awesome. This Grind King logo is really badass. All the lettering's great. Moving forward, Fling a Boog comes with a full year supply of genuine imported boogers from Tibetan monks. Yeah, so there's some sort of medium board, Ouija board type thing here that uses boogers on a pentagram. Here I have a little write-up on a band called the Water Boys, which I gotta admit I'm not familiar with at all. Moving forward, we have another interview here with a surfer, or looks like he's actually someone who designed surfboards, Bill Frierson Shaper. Yeah, Angle Craft Design. And they talked to him about you know, his thoughts on the design process and you know, the state of creating surfboards. Talking about the differences between surfers of today and of the 60s. And he was actually, you know, witnessing that first generation of surfers here in America. Medium cool. I don't even know what this is here. Is this another? Oh, okay. I do know what this is. So this is a comic that is inside the zine. And again, I love this art. This is so cool to me. I actually don't love this Beezer character, but the line work here is just awesome stuff. Have some quotes here. The interview with the surfboard designer continues. Have another ad for subscribing to Shred Magazine. Again, using more of that 50s, 60s style clip art. We have here Shred's favorite philosopher is quoted as Mojo Nixon, which is funny to me. Have a ad for Men in Black t-shirts. T-shirts for the new Dark Age. I'm curious about that. That's a cool design. I wonder what that company's up to now, if this is if they're still around. All right. Also, all this stuff looks very close to a lot of the art that was throughout the magazine. I'm wondering if this is the same people who are doing Shred. Yeah. Right to Shred. So, they were hitting people from both ends. They got the zine, the apparel. We have another cool looking ad here. Another skate ad. And in the end here, we have a article titled Prophecy. And it actually is about prophecies, talking about Rastafarians, Frank Waters. Interesting stuff. It's cool that it's a skate culture and basically skate and surf culture zine that also covers so many other topics. They have a thing here for the EDF, for the Environmental Defense Fund. And before we get out of here, this is really good. In this age of uncertainty, the only things you can count on are your fingers. 100% safe. This is great design. I love it. It's very simple. It's really dumb. It's really not, it's not breaking any new ground. It's just clean and fun. Same with this. This is awesome too. Give me Shred or give me Kaopectate. So on the back here, again, more surfing. We have an old Billabong ad. And that is the first issue of Shred. I'm very curious if anyone knows more about this, what else these people did, where it came from, where it went. I really couldn't find anything about it. I did see one or two issues had sold online in the past, but I couldn't find any information on issue number 2, which I do not have. I have 1 and 3. Curious how long this ran for. Curious to know anything more about it. So that's it. Hopefully this setup, this actually works, and I will be doing a lot more stuff like this, sharing just some of the more interesting things in my collection. See ya.